Hey guys, it's Justin again. So this is going to be my second YouTube video, and today what I want to do is kind of just go over my car specs and what I've done to the car, and go over the changes that were made to this fourth generation versus the third generation and the second generation, and just kind of go over the progression they've had in the motor and what they did, and what I've noticed what they've been doing as far as changing over to the next model and what they're trying to do. And I just also want to give you some insight on with a comparison of my other Mazda that is also Skyactiv, and just kind of see what Mazda has improved and where they went downhill. This is not a 3 things I like and the 3 things I dislike. That will be a way later video once the Supercharger is already installed. But for right now, I just kind of want to really just show you, what's been going on with the car and the issues. And then obviously later on, following that, it's going to be the unboxing of the Supercharger. And I'm going to try to do that next week when I come back from this wedding. And also I've been getting together all the maintenance items, so I want to show you guys a transmission drain and refill, not a flush, obviously how to change your oil, spark plugs, and also with me having a fourth gen and an all-wheel drive, I have to do the rear differential and the transfer case, which is something I've never done before. But those are extra maintenance items that come along with the all-wheel drive. So that is an extra expense that you have to take in consideration if you do want the all-wheel drive. So, and also, your gas mileage goes down with having all-wheel drive, but you get the increased traction. So there's a lot of pros and cons of having this all-wheel drive system. Even having that heavier Mazda 6, it still got better gas mileage than this because the drivetrain loss is more noticeable because I'm not able to coast as well as I was in the front wheel drive version. So I know some of your guys are like, man, I wish I got the all wheel drive Mazda 3, but yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. So like I said, having all wheel drive, your gas mileage is going to go down. You're going to lose direct power. So I feel like if I was in a roll race, I would lose to a car that had front wheel drive, just because of the drivetrain loss and everything like that. But also if I'm at a red light, that's another story. So, okay guys, I'm going to take you over to the car right now. I'm going to show you what I've done so far to it. It's kind of dirty, and also just kind of go over a little issues I've had as soon as I got the car. I have bad luck with vehicles. So guys, I'll see you in a second. All right guys, here we are outside with the car. So we're going to go a quick overview of the car. And hopefully you guys like the information I'm going to provide about this car. Just want to go over what I paid, or how much I overpaid, and just kind of give you a runaround about the car, everything that's been done to it, and the issues I've been having. So, okay, here we go. All right, the MSRP for this car should have been maybe less than 22,000, about maybe 21.5. All right, that's like the MSRP for, pretty much a brand new Mazda 3 base model. Anytime you go look it up, and with the market, the prices were staying the same and everybody's marking it up. So when I went to buy this car, it was supposed to be for around 23.5. Obviously, that's if it's in excellent condition. All right, guys. So a car in excellent condition, I don't mind a markup of $2,000, especially, and even if it had miles on it. So let's just go look at how many miles are on the car when I got it, and kind of just show you some stuff I found out after I bought the car. All right. So upon purchasing this car, all right, let's look at some things. All right, guys, like I was saying before, I don't want to show you all my information, my address and everything. Later on, you'll probably find out. But the MSRP is less than 21.5. The amount of finance was 26,880, and that's at 2.69%. So by the time I get done paying for this car, it's almost $29,000. Now the car, like I said, was 23.5, but then I added a 2-year extended warranty, and I was still technically in my actual manufacturer warranty of 36,000 miles because the car had 27,000 miles on it when I bought it, right? So 27,000 miles. So I added extra warranty for the 2 years because I know I drive a lot. I drive 40,000 miles a year. So that's not a big deal. So then I added the gap insurance because I knew I was overpaying. So that's a big gap, right? So then, you know, I was in a rush to get the car. Anyways, guys, I would not pay that much for a car. But what happened was after I crashed my car, I actually ended up, you know, getting a good amount of return on the Mazda 6. I actually, you know, made money on the car technically. I ended up getting $22,500 for the car, and I bought the car for MSRP 18. But obviously, you know, after the financial charge and everything, you're getting reimbursed. It was more than that. But anyway, so I came out pretty much even on this new car. But I was originally supposed to get a 2017 Mazda 6, which is a year newer than my 16. Now the 17 Mazda 6, that's when they first came out with the G-Vectoring. So the steering was a little heavier. Also, with the being a 2017 model, they got the updated steering wheel, the heated steering wheel, heated rear seats. Right, so I didn't have that on mine. And also got like the pop-up display was color versus the green analog display they had before. So that was a couple things, you know, the reason why I was going to get the 17 and upgrade a little bit so I can get, you know, stuff I don't need. And also I had the Mazda 6 with the GT package, which comes with, you know, like everything, the heated seats and stuff, and also comes with the grille shutters. And they have this thing called the IE loop system, which I don't think it works. I think the reason why people get better gas mileage is just because in order to charge the system, you have to take your foot off the gas, which in a normal situation, anyone taking their foot off the gas, you're coasting. So you're going to save gas. So it's like a reminder to take your foot off the gas. So I don't actually know if it works like they say it does, but I was averaging about 44 miles per gallon in that Mazda 6. Longer wheelbase. In this car, I'm averaging about 40 driving the same way. And that's attributed to the all-wheel drive system. And, you know, maybe supposedly that, you know, IE loop works, but I don't think it does. I think it's really just the all-wheel drive system. So that being said, let me kind of, you know, actually, yeah, let's just, since we're already here, I want to discuss about, you know, the car and me overpaying. So obviously I was in a rush to get the car because my 2017 that I was going to get from Carvana, it actually fell through, and I ended up waiting a whole month for them to try to get a replacement battery for the Mazda. So they were supposed to be here in a week, then it got changed to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then at that point I had a rental car for a month. And you know, like, you know, my Geico insurance only covers for a month. So I had to get a car. And so by the time I found out that they didn't have a time frame of when I was going to get this car, I canceled my order for the 2017 Mazda 6 Grand Touring with they call it the premium package in 2017 versus the tech package in 16. So it still had all the same things, but actually extra features, including a black headliner. And I only want a black headliner if I got black seats. In my 16 that I had the white seats, and man, that thing was hard to keep clean. So just for future reference, opt out of getting the white seats if you can. So that being said, so I'm here. So I was in a rush to buy a car. So what I did was when I went to the dealership, I didn't really care. I just needed a car because I didn't have the rental anymore, and I just needed a car. So I didn't really look at it. I know Mazda's reliable, and I was buying it from my Mazda dealer. So I really wasn't worried if an issue arose because, you know, I bought it from a verified Mazda dealer. So anyways, but sure enough, once I got the car off the lot, you know, but even before I got the car off the lot, I noticed some issues, and I was trying to work with the price. So let's go outside, and I'm going to show you some of the issues that the car already had. First thing I noticed when I got the car, you know, there was a little minor scratch here, no big deal. I tried to use this to get my price lowered down, right? So I'm like, okay, the car, you know, it's been through something. It's over 27,000 miles. So that was the first thing I noticed. So I kind of used that to try to bring them down in price. And then, you know, that's pretty much the only thing I had noticed when I originally got the car, right? So, you know, obviously when I get home and I have the car, I have time to start looking over it. My eyes are very color sensitive, but if you can't see it, this front bumper is a lighter color than the rest of the car. So I was kind of like did this get in an accident? The Carfax came up clean. So I'm like, the front bumper is a different color. There's damage in the rear. Something's up, right? So, you know, no big deal. Like, it might have got repainted. I just kind of I just didn't think about it too much, but there is a definite color difference. So I'm like, why is there a color difference? What happened to this car, right? So then, you know, I start modifying my car. All right, and I'm gonna go over those mods in a second. So I start modifying my car and I get a check engine light. All right, so I just told you I got this car with 27,000 miles, right? So I started modifying it, got a check engine light, took it to AutoZone, and when I went to AutoZone, this is what pulled up. My odometer reading showed 47,000. Mind you, I put a couple thousand miles on this car, but I got it with 27,000, and there was no way, because I got this car February 3rd. It's the 23rd. I had 27,000 miles on my odometer in the actual car, the physical odometer, but my ECU is reading that much. I tried a few different scans to make sure. I actually even drove the car. So if you look at here, you know, I thought it was maybe, a mistake. I drove the car and then I brought it back. And I don't know if I have it in here, but when I brought it back, the reading was different, but it was still in over 40,000. So it showed that I drove the car around. So I can't find the other one right now, but it definitely showed that I drove the car around and my odometer reading did not match my ECU reading. So I'm like, huh, I brought this up to the dealer and I'm kind of using that because I modified my car. I'm using that as an excuse to, you know, if something happens, that these guys gave me a car that had issues. All right, guys, I'm back from running my errands. Now what I want to do is just show you where the mods went on the car and why I chose them to do them the way I did instead of doing like the full catback exhaust or the full intake, because I didn't think it was necessary. And also this is my daily, so I also want to keep the noise levels down. And you know, when I had the OBX catback on my Mazda 6, the cold starts were loud. I mean, I was waking up the whole neighborhood at 6 a.m. Sounded just as loud as the guy with his R600 next door. So I didn't want that. And then also, like, when I had the full catback, I didn't notice an increase in performance. Like, I actually noticed a loss of torque in the low end. And I think that has to do with the slowing down of the exhaust gases as it exits the rear. As we know, the Skyactiv engine works off of the velocity being able to pull the exhaust gases out the cylinders. So keeping the velocity high allows the heat to travel. I mean, that's what it is. The heat traveling faster out the exit when there's less area for it to expand. So if the gases can't expand, they'll travel faster to get out the exhaust from high pressure to low pressure. So I opted not to change my exhaust, leave the piping the same, and just remove the restrictions, mainly the secondary cat, because the resonator doesn't really restrict at all. It just allows the gases to expand in the chamber, but it can flow straight through. So let me go into the car and show you guys what I did. So I got to get it up on the ramp. My little ramp's out. Now I'm going to drive the car on top of it so I can show you what I did underneath here, because at the time there was I didn't see any exhaust available for this car. And also I kind of wanted to keep the car quiet. And also with me having cylinder deactivation, I didn't want to mess with it when I found out about the Cork Sport exhaust, because a guy was telling me he was hearing the car switch between 2-cylinder and 4-cylinder, and I don't want to deal with that because that will get annoying on daily driving, like he was saying. So let me go ahead and drive it up here and show you. We're going underneath the car just to show you where I removed it. So I just had a quick pipe just put in place of the secondary cat. Everything else is left stocked, and because I really didn't want to mess with the secondary O2 sensors positioning, because I wanted everything to function like factory. And I cut it right before it gets to the cylinder deactivation. So I left all this intact so that it still operates like normal and I don't hear the drone or anything like that. Resonator still in there, still got the stock exhaust. In front of the hood, there's a carbon filter that goes right underneath here that is on the inside of this intake, that's not connected to the air filter, that you can just pop out, and that allows this engine to pull air in a lot easier. And the only other thing I changed was, like I said, that Auto X silicone pipe right here. And one more thing that I did that won't really matter once I go supercharged, I added a throttle body ground. So what I did was I just connected a small wire from my throttle body, connected to there, and I routed it to the battery terminal on the negative end. So what that allows, it allows the actuator to open a little bit faster than it normally would, so your response is a little bit better, and you don't need a pedal command or anything like that. So it doesn't actually shorten the pedal like a pedal commander does, but it sends the amperage through a lot higher so that the throttle body opens at a faster rate, which is better for torque. Because anytime like you're gaining momentum like that, like when the air is drawn in a lot faster and the velocity is high, that will increase your low end torque. So guys, try that out if you haven't. If you're still NA, try it just to connect it. You can connect it to the chassis, but I prefer just to connect it right through here to the battery terminal. But I won't need this anymore once I go supercharged, because according to Daniel, I mean, because the supercharger's body and you know, the manifold replacement is made of metal, unlike this plastic one. All right guys, so that's it for the modifications, other than my OV tune by Ralph, and I can't wait till he tunes this thing with the supercharger. My second car is tuned, so this car actually uses the same tune that I had with my Mazda 6. I just had him copy over everything and put it onto this car, but I did notice that the power jump was a lot more noticeable in here than it was on the Mazda 6 I had with the older generation 2.5. Other than that, yeah, like I said, the tune was just copied over. And one thing to note on the 4th gen, if you have the G Vectoring Plus, when you add the throttle change to it, we used me and Ralph, you know, used Mazda Edit, and we put the 30% throttle change. What ended up happening, my steering got harder and tighter sooner. So depending on your throttle position, your steering wheel tightens. So if you go ahead and do a throttle adjustment through tuning, you will notice your steering wheel will feel a lot heavier earlier. So when you're at a standstill and you're just starting to go, the car's a lot harder to turn because it is recognizing the input signal higher than the car normally would be. So if I was you, if you have a 4th gen, opt out of the throttle position, because it is connected with the steering. So if you shorten the throttle, the steering wheel tightens faster. You won't have that issue with any of the older generations, like the 3rd gens, unless it has the GVC Plus. So honestly, the year that gives you the most control, as far as I know, with the Mazda 3 and 6 would be the 2016 year, before they came out with GVC. That is going to be the most fun version of the Mazda to drive. You're very connected to the steering. I loved how the 16 felt, and the steering was very sharp and precise. These are still precise, but it's more smooth and easy to control, whereas the this 2016 and 14 through 14 are like a driver's car. Guys, like I was telling you, I'm OV tuned, and that's by Ralph in the Philippines. So even though that my ECU doesn't match my odometer, I think that was actually a blessing in disguise, because most of these cars have a Denso ECU. I looked under my hood, I have a Mitsubishi ECU. And since this is a early gen Mazda, I'm not sure if the PCM update was actually a ECU replacement or just a flash, because I mean, this is an early generation, and that would make sense that on all the early generation cars with the cylinder deactivation, they had to do a fix for it, and it's easier to swap out an ECU, copy and swap it over, than to try to, I guess, reprogram an encrypted ECU. I don't know what Mazda has over there, but I got fortunate enough to get a Mitsubishi ECU, and that's probably because the ECU in this car is not the original ECU. So I'm very lucky, and I'm happy that the car had this flaw. So that being said, yeah, I'm gonna be able to tune this car with the Supercharger. A lot of fourth gen guys are gonna be out of luck, and I was pretty disappointed to find out I had cylinder deactivation, but after seeing how bad the miles per gallon is with all-wheel drive, I'm kind of happy now that I have cylinder deactivation, because that makes up for it. So all the all-wheel drive models up until 2021 have cylinder deactivation, and that is to conserve gas. And then after that, they have to reach the EPA standards. So what they did was got rid of cylinder deactivation and added a 2.0 model, so they're still meeting the EPA fuel efficiency standards, and also using up all the remaining engines they have, because now they discontinued the CX-3 that was using a 2.0 motor. So Mazda's being very efficient on how they're utilizing their motors. As I'm back inside, I'm really trying to keep these videos short. There's obviously so much I want to talk about. Like, we didn't really talk about like the changes in each model and each generation like I wanted to. I kind of want to save that for a later video, because most of you are here just for the Supercharger. Like, you know about each generation and the changes. So, but what I want to do right now is kind of tell you, because the next video obviously is the unboxing of the Supercharger. And what I want to do also, I want to just give you a little glimpse of what I will be doing before that even the Supercharger even gets installed. So as we know, I do want to get a dyno done on this car before the Supercharger is installed. This week is not going to happen because of the wedding I'm going to, but I'm going to make some calls tomorrow to set up a dyno. And before I get that dyno done, I want to make sure all the fluids are changed, that I check the open the intake manifold, look at the valves, clean them off, because I want the least amount of variables for why my increase in power was there. Because, you know, if I do all this stuff at the same time, changing the spark plugs, changing all the fluids, cleaning the intake valves and all the stuff at the same time as the Supercharger, I don't know if all that power was from the Supercharger or was it from doing all my maintenance. So like I said, I got the car with 27,000 miles. I'm at 36,000 miles. That's like almost 10,000 miles, and I just got the car in February, guys. So in 2 months, like almost 10,000 miles. Like I said, I do at least 40,000 miles a year. So I am going to put the miles on it. So it is due for a rear differential and a transfer case flush. You want to do that every 30,000 miles. The transmission, I would say like every 60,000. So every two times you change the rear diff, you want to change do a drain and fill. Not a flush, a drain and fill on the transmission. I don't know why I said flush, but that's, you know. So anyways, I already went ahead and got the stuff for that. So I just want to show you in the box some of the things I'm going to be changing before I do the Supercharger, because I want to keep as many variables out of this. So we know that all the results are from the Supercharger and the tuning, because I already have the tune on the car. So what I have here, I have my fluid for the... This is going to be for the transfer case and the rear differential. All right. I got my Mazda fluid right here for the transmission. Right. Went on ahead. These filters are hard to find, but I got me a Wix air filter. These are not interchangeable with the third gens, by the way. These filters are actually smaller than the third gens. I think their thing is to increase air velocity. So they went smaller on this because they realized like we weren't maxing them out anyways, because they had more than enough flow. And obviously also I got the oil filter. Wix is like one of the best brands that I believe when it comes to filtration. I watched plenty of YouTube videos on them when they did studies. And then I went on ahead and I bought these same spark plugs I had on my Mazda 6. I know some people go higher heat range than this, but these work great in my Mazda 6. And I don't really think with the amount of boost that we're doing, we're going to need anything better than this. The car ran way smoother with these. So the Ruthenium's HX, right? Another thing I got, because once I do this carbon cleaning, I know it's going to be worse because we are going forced induction, which means because we're increasing cylinder pressure, there's going to be more blow by, right? We're increasing cylinder pressure, so more things are going to end up in the crankcase. So once I clean these intake valves, you know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to grab it out of this box right now. It's hard to do this with one hand. Sorry, guys. It's my first time. So I ordered this $20 catch can. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mount it low so that the blow-by drains down into it and it doesn't travel up. So I want to keep the blow-by going downstream. So even when the car is off, whatever remaining drips into this. And also at the bottom of here, there's a drain valve. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to route that to the bottom down where my oil change is so that I can change the oil and drain this at the same time in the same location. All right. So that's all I have for the maintenance stuff right now. I still need to go and get a transmission filter. So I don't even know if they have those in stock right now. And hopefully they're the same as the previous generation. So that's it, guys, for today. The next time we come here, I will be unboxing the Supercharger as well as a couple other items I got to go along with this. So like I said, next video, guys, we're going to do the unboxing. I'm going to show you where everything's at. I'm reading the instructions right now for the installation. So I think it's going to be a breeze once I do it. So I'm going to, like I said, unboxing next. And then after that, I don't know which video is going to be. I do want to talk about the differences in the third generation versus the fourth generation, seeing as my sister and my brother-in-law, they both have a Mazda 6. My sister has a 2014, or I said not Mazda 6, Mazda 3. My sister has a 2014 Mazda 3 with a 2.0. And then my brother-in-law, who's married to my sister, has a 2018 Mazda 3 with a 2.5. So you can really see how much it changed from the base model to he has the Grand Touring with everything in it. The last, the 2018, the last Grand Touring, everything in it for that model. Along with the upgraded steering wheel they did in 17, and my sister has a 14, and it doesn't even have the display because in 14, if you got the Touring or Sport, it didn't have it in there. So guys, that's all for this video. I will put down in the description what the next video is going to be about, which is the unboxing and then the following video. So like I said, I'm going to try to do this once a week, and every video is going to have a description of the next two videos, and I'm going to shoot, like I said, once a week, and I'll keep trying to touch on different topics. I try to take on too much at one time, and I want to keep these videos short to like under 30 minutes. So that's it, guys. Talk to you later.